Omni Maniac here, and in this video, I'm going to do a Lessaria tier list. What you're seeing here, each one of these icons represents a different unit type, and the way I'm going to judge the units, I'm going to assume that they're at least level 5, 5 to 7, an average, kind of high. I'm going to assume that they have equipment. And we're going to assume that we're using them on survival medium, right? So, things I will consider in the tier list. Lockouts. For example, if I choose to go with barbarians, what units are no longer available because I made that choice? Or if I choose elves, what other units am I not picking because I chose elves? So that's how I'm doing my tier list, and I'm going to assume that you are playing the vanilla game, that you still have lockouts on, and you can get locked into a one ally or one faction. I do have a test kitchen here. This is a sandbox map that I created that has one of each building, and we have every single unit fully upgraded, and they have equipment, and this map is on easy, so they will handle everything no problem. Like, they're fighting these leches down here, easy. So we'll examine the unit, and I'll kind of riff on like what I think and why, and a couple of things that we will also look at is we will look at status ailments as they're applied and buffs from that unit. Okay? So, with that being said, we are going to start with the basic units, and I'm going to go Rangers S tier. The reason why I make Rangers S tier is for a few different reasons. If we look at a ranger, let me pick a ranger right here. Rangers have between 200 and 350 health. They immediately, they are one of the first units you can build. The Ranger AI will walk around and explore. It's a solid unit in the beginning. Ranger has Tame. Tame is tame and camouflage. I should say tame can tame a monster an animal the same level or higher. So you can tame bears, wolves, bees. Early game, Ranger is going to be the main reason why you stay alive. They are ranged units, and because they are ranged units, they just don't die. The biggest thing that also helps them early on is this camouflage. They can apply camouflage and help them escape from combat. I've also, in rare cases, have seen them cast camouflage on other units. I'm not sure if that's a bug or not, but like, let me see if. So I've seen them do it in like rough fights where they'll splash camouflage, and I'll see it kind of affect other units. So the way that I think camouflage works is that it creates an AoE around them of this like dust powder. Let's call it a gas cloud. And anybody in that little AoE also gets camouflage, which is great. More importantly, they can escape from fights. They have higher survivability. As far as their attack goes, I have to find one that's not currently in combat and doesn't have a ton of buffs on them. Okay, there are some buffs here, but we can talk a little bit about their attack. So they have between like 16 and 25 attack, depending on equipment, and they have a decent crit chance, between like 15 and 20 crit chance. I have to make sure they're not being augmented in any way. Yeah, so they're getting crit. There's a buff here, and yeah, that works. So this person has a natural 19% crit chance. That's not bad. If you build 9, 12 rangers and they're all attacking, they're going to get some decent crits in. while surviving, especially early game. The thing that makes them really good is their fire arrow. An incendiary arrow shot, it sets enemies on fire and causes increased damage to animals and buildings. Not that it matters here. It's 55 physical damage. It applies burn, and then that unit takes burn damage. It just helps with the DPS. So for a very small amount of gold, you're going to get a unit that has survivability. That you can use immediately. This unit does not lock you out of any other factions. Their building footprint is small. If you needed to build more than like one of these buildings, you can. It only goes up by a little bit. So 250, 500, 750, 1,000. So there you can. It's easy for you to get a lot of Rangers online, and Rangers will hold the game. They'll hold your fort. The only thing is they are going to explore like crazy, and if they're the leader of a party, that party is going to explore like crazy. So but in campaign, honestly, I would just mass Rangers and win most campaigns. They would just go around solving problems. So solid. That's why I have them in S tier, and that's where I keep them. Going into my next unit, I'll go to Knights. I put Knights B tier. Knights are immediately replaced by Paladins. If you go the Paladin route, like in every way, they're better. Knights are replaced by Possessed. Knights are replaced by Barbarians. There's a couple things that Knights do very well, but there's a lot that they have going against them. So a high level Knight would have somewhere in like the 400 health range, and if you could get them to that point, then congratulations, you have a character with the level 1 no equipment stats of a Paladin. You know what I'm saying? Knights typically have between 2 and 250 life initially. They're useful because if you do a defense order, they will like doing it. They typically don't like to leave the town. So if you have a leader that's a knight, a party leader that's a knight, the party really won't start walking around and leave the area. So they have some usefulness. But if you look at their kit, they have they're weak on magic protection. They have strong-ish physical protection. They have okay damage. Shield wall, you sort of have to have it. It does increase their defense by a percentage, which isn't amazing. I wish it was like a flat number, but it's a percentage. Their shield charge is their best feature. It gives them mobility. They do 2x whatever their physical damage is. Their shield charge does 2x that damage, and they can immobilize and stun a unit. So if you're splashing these guys in, they're decent, but their damage numbers are not here. They're not really a tank because they're a tank in name only. Their HP doesn't let them tank too much. And like every stat you're seeing here is with buffs. Like Knight's Blessing, Thieves Blessing, Magic Blessing. It's all these buffs are what is helping these stats go even bigger. When you make a brand new Knight and you're just trying so let's talk about how you encounter a Knight. You're starting a game. You're choosing Knight, and then Knight is your very first melee unit that you could get that has some type of survivability. So I put them in B tier. They're okay to get you going. You don't want to make a lot of them, and they die. They die often. So the unit itself, what sucks about them is that look at this footprint, and then look at this footprint. These buildings are freaking big, and they have this. They have you do have a little bit more HP on this, but it's not enough. For what you get, it's just taking up too much space, especially in a game like this where building space is a problem, like you cannot build outside of a certain grid. So if you want to build more than one knight building, you're giving a lot of space to knights. I believe they have the same footprint as a paladin building. So it's like, why wouldn't I just have paladins? But anyway, that's knights. They're good for what they're used for. You want to replace the unit at some point. At some point, I would blow this building up and just replace it with a paladin building and call it a day, or some other melee unit building. So yeah, I have them at B for that reason. Now, this building does let heroes purchase a buff, which is pretty good. You guys probably saw it. It's this Knight's Blessing. People can come spend a little bit of money and give themselves a temporary buff, which gives them higher physical protection. That's good. Any unit that, and like you might notice that some of my other units might have it if they bought it. So, having the barracks itself exist, it's okay. It gives everybody a little bit of protection, so that's okay. So I'll leave them in B, and we will go to Thieves. Thieves, I have a love-hate relationship with these guys. They should do more damage than they do, in my opinion. I'm going to put them in C tier, and I'll tell you what they're trying to do, okay? So the Thieves' Den footprint is not terrible. It's kind of a long shape. It's similar to... It's actually smaller than that. It's a weird kind of footprint. That part really isn't so bad. The Thieves themselves. This is a level 7 Thief with good equipment. Like decent equipment, I should say. So their kit. They do damage, so 20-ish damage. They have between 200 and 300-ish HP on average. They die very often. They die so much that you're going to be finding yourselves buying it over and over and over again. They have a dagger throw. I think it has a 20-second cooldown. It does 40 damage. It's not really that high. Initially, when you first start the game, having that kind of damage, you're going to one-shot a rat. He might fight a bee and be okay, but the moment he's fighting a bear, it's kind of a problem. In lieu of an escape, he has this chain throw, which reduces a bunch of movement abilities and attack speed by 10%. It stays on the unit for a little while. It's not that impressive. It stacks with other units who also do mobility things. But it on its own isn't that great. Then you have Sneaky Blow, which is their attack times 3, I believe. Maybe 3.5, something like that. It goes up, I think it's 3.5. So however much physical attack you have, it goes up by that. Let me look at another guy. They have the same equipment. They all have the same equipment, so it's hard for me to figure that math out. 308. They're okay. Now, they don't have this much crit attack. They just have lots of stats. They have lots of stuff stacked on top of them, like Ranger's Blessing and stuff. Let me go find one that doesn't have blessings on it. Yeah. They all have buffs on them. They're about like 30% crit chance on average, which isn't terrible, but they have to actually get up close to the unit. Compared to a lot of other unit damage, these guys aren't great. Now, here's what makes them acceptable and not D tier. If they didn't have this, in my opinion, they would be D tier. This right here, Bounty. They can add Bounty to anything that they're attacking, and it increases the gold reward and the experience on the unit. So, it sort of, in theory, if your thieves could pay for themselves in a roundabout way. Thieves also don't lock you out from buying other units. They do take a little bit of a footprint, so there's no real opportunity cost. Their Thieves' Blessing lets anybody go to the Thieves Guild and buy themselves a higher dodge chance. It's only 3%. Not a huge number, but it's not terrible. Overall, they do have some survivability. It's just like, it's a matter of getting them to that point. This sandbox is on easy. If I was playing medium or hard, thieves would be dying on a regular basis. I don't like putting them in parties because they die. I usually just let them roam around. Now, they look good on paper. They look good in this context. Wait till we get to the other units. You're going to be like, oh shit. Like, I can see why you don't like thieves. So, let's start a fight real quick with something. I'm just going to pause this video and we'll see if we can start a fight and get thieves to fight something. This is on easy to kind of show you what makes them good with that money ability. Man, maybe I should have made this on medium. Not that it's attacking me, we're just going to have to take my word for it. That gold ability is pretty good. He'll splash it on somebody the moment he sees them, and if everybody kills them, they just get more golden experience. It helps everyone level up a little bit faster. So it's one reason to have them just walking around. And it's what you're paying for. You're paying for that extra ability. Let me see. Is this a fight here? We could talk a little bit about thieves. And who is it? Anybody good? Not really. Let me see if I can get them to get over here. Okay. Let's see if a thief did its thing. Nope. Totem of Rage. Nah, they're dying too quick on easy for me to test this out. We need to wait for a dragon to come in here. I'll keep going. If a dragon happens, then we'll talk about that. So going into the next unit, it's going to be mages. Mages for me are D tier. I'm going to go into why. And basically anything higher than easy, mages insta-die. So he has 123 health. He has 123 health. He has 105 health. He has 123 health. When you first make a mage, they have like between 60 and 80 health. When you're playing on medium or any actual difficulty that's not easy, mages get one shot. So when you build your Mages Academy, the Mages Academy itself, I think, is a couple hundred gold. Then there's 2 upgrades. I think the first upgrade's 500, second upgrade's 500. So you're like 1,500 gold in investment on them. And then you have to buy all of these. So that's another 2,000 gold that you're investing. They have very little survivability, 7 physical protection. Now, where they're supposed to thrive is DPS. Their magic shield. Their magic shield gives them like 10% higher resistance. So what's 10% of 7? Even 20%. I think it's 10%. I'm pretty sure it's 10%. No, it's 20. So 20% of 7 is an extra 2 physical protection. This magic shield is garbage. It's so bad, it's not even worth getting. It does it if you're gonna magic shield should be applying higher HP in my opinion, but it is what it is. Fireball, 126 damage. That's not bad. Lightning, 189 damage. Not bad. It also applies stun. This applies burn. This does 63 damage, and it freezes them. Not bad. 252 magic damage. Not bad. The problem is they get one-shotted. The moment you have a dragon or a Leshy or any type, there are 9 different units that do 100 and 125 damage and higher. They just get one-shotted. So you're constantly having to resurrect them. Are they worth the resurrection? So you're already 3,500 gold in to just building them, not including them themselves, not including the money that you give them on missions and them buying equipment, etc. Then you have to continuously resurrect them. I have play tested the shit out of these guys. And also considering this tier list is my opinion, I would say they're like D+, C- in terms of like how much I use them. Them dying often is very, very frustrating. and you're constantly just resetting over and over again. You guys have watched, if any of you guys have watched any of my other videos, even before I had my strong opinion on mage, you'll see that I would build them, they would die. I would build them, they would die. Now, some people say what you want to do is put them in a party with a knight or a paladin leader so that they don't leave. They don't go, if they're with a ranger's going to go out and walk around the whole map. But if you're with this guy, they might not leave the area. And then you have a good defensive hero. But any enemy, any hero that can be one-shotted, I'm just not interested in. And that's kind of that's where it's at. It doesn't matter how good the unit is. It dies in one shot. You know, there's a video where I played on medium, I played the basics, and I brought in a mage, and we just got rolled. We just got completely rolled. So, anyway, that's that, and we're finally getting out of the basic heroes. Okay, we will now move to allied heroes. So, we're going to start with the elves. So, whenever we talk about an allied hero, keep in mind, if I pick one of these allied heroes, I am locking myself out of the other allied hero possibilities. So, going to our elf. So the moment I pick elf, I can no longer pick dwarf, I can no longer pick ogre, and I can no longer pick orcs. Okay? And for that sacrifice, I basically have a weaker version of a ranger. Okay, so from HP to HP, that's kind of what I have. So what are these wood elves supposed to be? They're supposed to be hybrid bard classes. They have a bow. They have the lowest crit chance in the game, I believe, lowest crit chance in the game, because they can buff people to have plus 10 crit chance. So after they cast this buff, it brings this, like her crit would go up to 22. But then everyone else around them also get higher crit chance. So that's okay. They have like this enchanted arrows, which does 55 damage, but doesn't do any burn, doesn't do any stun. It doesn't do any lasting damage. So it's like worse than Fire Arrow. So Fire Arrow is better than Enchanted Arrow. She doesn't have an escape, but she does have Vicious Mockery. Vicious Mockery debuffs. It makes the person that she's... the party that she's supporting take less damage because she's reducing the critical hit chance, the magic damage, and the physical damage from the enemy that she is doing a Vicious Mockery to. And then she has this Volley of Arrows, which is a AoE circle that does 65 damage to a group. Where I'm at with her is I have her C tier. Probably, I would say Thieves are better than she is. I don't ever see myself playing with elves. And it's like, if in a scenario where I have the Founders Pack and I can buy all the units, I still probably don't play with elves. Now, in this sandbox, having her magic song stack with all of the other buffs on the field pretty much makes my heroes immortal. But in this scenario where I'm locking myself out of... by buying her, I lock myself out of orcs, which are really good, dwarves, which are amazing, and ogres, which are brokenly good. How can I even consider buying elves? The saving grace is you get 3 of them. But I still don't think it's as... I just don't see it as good. I mean, you get 3, but orcs can make dogs, so you get 4 units for the 2. And dwarves make guns and golems, so you get 6 units for the 2. So they either need to be buffed, or maybe you should be able to get 5 of them. I don't even know if I would still take them at that point, but that's where I'm at. I don't like elves. I think that they're underpowered. They are probably good in a scenario where you're forced to use them right? But I could just get more Rangers and kind of have the same thing minus the buff. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So elves, I have C tier. Going up the list is going to be orcs. I really like orcs. Orcs for me are high B tier above knights. So orcs start with like 300 health. They can go as high as like 500 health if all things go well for them. They can use medium armor, which is pretty good. So they're medium armor and they are a spellcaster. These shamans can... Let me do something real quick to kind of gather my guys around. Where is my magic shop? Cool. I'm just going to do a defend magic shop ability. Get everybody over here. There's the dog. So decent attack, decent defense on both the physical, for a ranged unit, decent. 32 magic attack, 26 physical attack. It's going to be in that range, a little bit lower, a little bit higher, depending on what's going on. So arc lightning is okay. It's like not groundbreaking. It is ranged. Also has a melee strike, which is okay. Creates a summon. The dog can summon over and over again. Has a summon that can keep enemies at range. So that's really, really good. Solid there. Totem of Rage increases damage, and it increases a decent amount of damage when it happens. Let's see if I can get him to do it. Okay, we're going to keep the game paused. All these guys are fighting a dragon. They're all popping off, which means we're going to be able to look at all the abilities. Totem of Rage increases physical damage by 50%, magic damage by 50%, and magic protection by 50%. And this is the totem right here, and anything in that area gets to have that Totem of Rage. It's such a good buff. So that also affects their dog. If their dog was over here, for example. So dog has bite, has leap, does damage, has almost 300 HP. He can make another one if it dies. Super damn good. So Totem of Rage, absolutely amazing. It will power spike everybody around him. He usually leads with that cast before he does anything else. Lightning Shield encases an ally. This is just a lightning strike. It's okay. Let me see if I can find who he cast it on. That might be a needle in a haystack situation. It does damage. It doesn't do any protection or anything like that. I've seen it before. And then he has this earthquake thing, which just kind of knocks the enemy off their feet for a couple seconds. It does a little bit of damage. It's also an AoE. So you got like maybe 4 or 5 dogs running at him, and he does this. They all fall over for a second. Significantly better than elves. Significantly better than elves. If I had to pick between the two, I would pick these guys, but there are even better allies out there. But putting him in B tier, I think he's like a B+. He's like B+ into A. But that's where I put them. I don't pick them usually. If I can, I'll splash them in. That totem buff is absolutely bonkers. So the next one on the list for me is going to be ogres, and ogres on my list is A tier. Ogres are broken. Here he is in all of his glory. He could do a lot. So his drawback is when you make an ogre building, you only get one of them. So out of all of the allies, you only get one ogre versus 2 orcs and 3 elves. That's his first drawback. The second drawback is his magic protection is non-existent. It's 0. The only reason why he has magic protection is because of somebody gave him or an aura. He's benefiting from buffs. Let's just say that. That's what's propping up. He has no magic protection whatsoever. He's susceptible to magic damage. However, he's only level 5, and look at this damn HP, dude. It's crazy. I've seen them go as high as 1100 HP. Starting HP is in the 700s. This guy can sustain. So, outside of that, he has pretty chunky attack, man. It's crazy. 55 attack with the axe. He has a axe throw, which does 2x. Whatever his physical attack damage is, it does 2x. So if this man wins a tournament and gets a really good weapon, that's a lot. And I think the cooldown on that is 10 seconds. He's throwing those axes pretty regularly. He does have Mayhem, which is a knockback. And he also has a meat grinder. Series of brutal strikes that turn enemies into mincemeat. It's basically 4 strikes he does in succession. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is that good? Because that increases his chance to crit. The more you're striking, every one of those strikes has a chance to crit. So it's one of the secrets of having a crit-based class. So this guy is swinging. He's going crazy. He also has Pantophagy, I think is how you say that. He eats dead things that he kills and heals himself. What the hell? A tank that heals himself. And he also has an appetizing concoction. This is the Tree of Life spell from the Dryad. It's the same exact thing. He makes a circle. Anybody in the circle heals 20 HP per second. What? They are a healer. They are just as good as a healer almost as a Dryad. So he just threw his axe. And let's see if he pops his healing concoction. They killed it so damn fast. So yeah, we're playing on easy for sandbox. Dragons are going to go down. He makes a circle. Anybody in the circle heals 20 HP per second. He's good. He's extremely good. He's not as good as other heroes, but I have a hard time choosing between him and the Orc. He's very good. Now you have to buy the expansion DLC to get this guy, so I won't talk about him too much. He's not the best, but if you have it, play it. If not, the Orcs, I think 2 Orcs is probably equal to one of these ogres, except that you can't get the heal that he makes. Now, would I have him as my only healer? No. His building footprint is pretty big too, man. Like, it's not just this, it's also like 2 blocks around this thing. Like, let me show you. That footprint is big. That is a big footprint for a building. Sorry, it's this guy right here. It's the same as dwarves, essentially. So that is that. Going on to the very last one, which is dwarves. They are S tier, man. They are so good. Let's see if we have the things to show you. So my dwarf is here, and then I have... Alright, I have 2 of them. So they are ranged units. They have 400 HP, between 3 and 500 HP, depending on what's happening. They attack fairly often. They have a high rate of fire. And they can use heavy armor. They can use and buy heavy armor. Makes them just durable in general. Going into their abilities. This guy is doing 45 physical attack. Bang, 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 bang. He has a hammer. Hopefully he never has to use it, but he does have it if somebody gets close to him. The guy builds a turret. The turret does 25 to 35 damage per second. It has long range. It's basically he could build a ranger. The guy will fix. He will fix things based that he comes in contact with. I've seen him fix buildings. You have a couple of these walking around. Building's on fire in the middle of a fight. He fixes it. Now, he prioritizes attacking over fixing. That's just his AI. But once the fight's over, he repairs the building. That's nice. Nice little thing to have. And then you have builds a golem. The golem has a flamethrower has between 5 and 600 HP. It has it has taunt. It has a fist and a flamethrower ability, which adds burn. So, yeah, dude. And this guy has 32 and 48 defense. The golem is really good. So for the price of one unit, you get 3. They're high DPS. It's high DPS when you add all 3 units together. They have big footprint, but man, these guys are awesome. They're super strong. They are the best of the allies. And now, orcs, if it wasn't for the turret, they would be similarly matched. Orcs have medium armor. Orcs have totems, which give that extra, which have higher damage potential. But like an orc by itself versus a dwarf by itself, I pick dwarves. It's just kind of my opinion on this whole thing, and that's that. So we got through the allies, guys, and let's start talking about the factions. In terms of good, evil, neutral, I feel like it's probably good, neutral, evil right now in terms of best to worst. So, yeah, good, neutral, evil. So the good heroes are all really, really good high tier. The neutral are okay, but have like a saving grace. And then the evil heroes have a lot of drawbacks, but it's okay. So we will start with I'll probably go with the evil heroes. And so for that reason, we are going to talk about Possessed. Possessed, I put above Knights in B tier, but below Orcs as far as a unit is concerned. They have a couple of drawbacks, and they have drawbacks by design. So they have between 350, 500 HP. They can equip heavy armor, heavy weapons. But they do a lot of damage. As long as you're okay with the drawbacks. They have, of course, high physical defense and attack. They have less magic defense. They have execution. Execution is crazy. 366 physical damage is absolutely crazy. And they heal themselves when they do it. Like, what? They have Harvest, which is okay. It's an area effect. Then you have these two things. Now, you can just not buy... Honestly, like, if you bought Possessed and you just did not get these two upgrades, specifically this upgrade, Possession, is actually a shit upgrade. When they're close to death, they die and go nuts for a little while, but they stay alive. And then you don't have access to them anymore. So you could basically make these guys and not upgrade Obsession, and they're pretty damn solid. They have a high attack, high life, they can heal themselves, and then Defilement restores a portion of their health when dealing a fatal blow. So whenever they deal a fatal blow, they heal themselves. So it's definitely better than the Knight. Obsession is actually, in my opinion, it makes them worse. Without Obsession, I might make them A tier, to be honest with you. Obsession's supposed to be a cool feature, but it usually hurts you more than helps you in a lot of situations. By the way, he's actually using unappetizing concoction from the ogre and is healing 20 per second. So that's an example of ogres healing people with their gross food. I don't really go for these guys too much. They look cool. I like their execution. But the drawbacks kind of hurt me a little bit here. And he's not as good as other melee units. Therefore, I see him as DPS melee berserker kind of deal. And I'll keep him in B tier. Going to the next unit, it is going to be the Succubus. Succubus I have A tier. Succubus is probably one of the better units that are on the evil side. If we go into Succubus, man, let's see here. So, she's strong. She's incredibly strong. For a caster, she has between 200 and 350 HP. depending on what's going on with her. She has a very high magic defense. What makes her sustain even higher is she can make imps. The imps have a decent amount. They attack, they defend. Like this one is doing... It has a sneaky backstab ability, so she can basically make thieves. And it attacks. It has 150 health. But ultimately, sometimes it has more like 175. I think that one got a weird attribute or something. She can just make those. Those will take aggro for her while she's alive. Now, her attacks are not anything to write home about. Like, I think it's magic damage and a physical attack. So whatever these two stats are, she has one of each of these. One is ranged, one is melee. But this debuff is the strongest debuff in the game. It decreases critical damage, evasion, magic attack, magic protection. It lowers attack and protection. It just straight lowers everything on a unit. Incredibly strong. Combine that with Soul Drain. This is the way that she does healing. She picks an enemy and picks an ally and then has one Soul Drain down. I believe it's 25 HP per second. So if she's dealing damage as part of her DPS, that's actually healing an ally. And so this is her way of supporting the possessed unit because she's stuck with them, and keeping the possessed unit alive. It works. It works well. She can get like 2 or 3 shotted. Maybe not 1 shotted, but she does die. The only other thing that she has is this move called Seduction, which backfires occasionally. And what do I mean it backfires? Let's say you're playing medium and you're attacked by 3 dragons. Very common occurrence. She might charm one of the dragons. Charm lasts for about 10 seconds. You kill the other 2 dragons. Now that the one that was charmed was ignored, everyone stopped aggroing on him, and now that dragon's far away. And then, now the other 2 dragons are dead, the charm falls off, you're fighting that was charmed dragon. She charms it again. It's still in your damn base, and now you're attacked again by another wave of enemies, and you haven't dealt with the dragon yet. So, it can be a little awkward. It does awkward things, but more times than not, it's good, it's helpful. It's helpful when they're outranging around. And it keeps everybody alive. What it also does do, by charming, it allows healing units to heal your team and prevents them from continuously taking damage. So it's a good way for your heroes to get a breather. So she's definitely A tier, very strong, and has a great place in the evil heroes, stuff. Combining her with an ogre is freaking good. Putting her with an ogre is good. She is great with ogres. So that's Succubus, A tier for sure. I would say ogres. I would higher priority here than here. They're had 2 different roles, so it is what it is. The last one is going to be demons. The demons, in my mind, are top of A tier. Their only drawback is movement speed, but who gives a crap? These guys are freaking strong. I've seen them go as high as 1200 HP. They move a little slow, but man, they do damage. The one thing I don't understand about them is their what do you call it? Their AoE. Okay, he's walking next to other units. He's not that much slower than them. And his attack speed isn't that slow. He has this giant AoE fireball thing. It's just pretty damn good. So, I haven't even finished upgrading this guy. My bad. Let me do that off camera. Alright, so we're going to come back to our Demon Lord here, or our Demon, and we're going to start by looking at his attack and his magic attack and physical attack. They're both quite high. They're incredibly high. His heavy hand does full physical. His demonic assault does 1.5 times, like 150% of his physical. So whatever that is, plus 150%. His Hellfire does a AOE of his 100% of his physical. You can see that right here. And his Demon Lord Aura increases damage of all nearby demons. Now, you have to have lots of demons for that to be good. But it affects himself. So he gives himself an additional 20% physical damage, 10% crit chance, and 20% magic damage. And then you have Chaos Strike. 364 magic damage right to the face. So, yeah, it's pretty solid. He doesn't really die. He doesn't heal himself, but he usually has friends to do that for him. He's quite a monster. He is quite strong. Very rarely will I see them die. He is the strongest melee unit in the game, basically. And when you have a succubus hanging out with him, he's good at any kind of healer, to be honest with you. The only thing that's awkward about him is like he has this aura that's still on him, but nobody else. No, so he gives that aura to all evil creatures. Look, so this is considered a demon, so she gets the aura as well. So I would imagine possessed also get the aura. So worth it in that case. Definitely high A tier, stronger than ogres. I typically will do one ogre, one demon, and one succubus on a team together. They're kind of a great combo. They do a lot of damage. They both have a lot of HP. And the ogre actually supplements the healing with the concoctions, and it kind of keeps the team going. So, yeah, high on those guys for sure. Going on to Barbarians. Barbarians, I gotta put in C tier for a lot of reasons. Okay? So, let's go on an adventure. Barbarians tend to die. So 350 to 500 life. And unlike Possessed, where Possessed have this amazing strikes and Paladins who we haven't talked to. So I have to compare them to Paladins and Possessed, because that's where they are. They are the melee unit for the neutral tribe. They just kind of fall flat. So they have no magic attack. They have high magic defense, but lower physical defense for some reason. They have low crit chance out of the box. And their physical attack isn't really that high, so he swings for 43 damage. He lunges and jumps, 43 damage. He goes into a rage, which increases his damage by 20%. And because he does that, he basically he will not retreat from a battle. It's okay. And then you have Dissect, which does a 43 damage AoE? What? So, compare that to my man Possessed with a 276 physical damage here. Like, I'm just getting more for less. You know what I'm saying? We'll have a look at these guys. 111 damage, 150 damage, and all the other benefits to Paladins. When you compare them, they're terrible. So you get two of them too. This is a huge footprint, and I only get two of them. So, like, maybe if there was three, I don't know. But compared to the other adjacent units, even if I compare them against these guys have stun and shield wall, so they have survivability. These guys are not supposed to have survivability. They're supposed to be damage dealers, and I just don't see it. So for me, I don't really ever buy them. And like even if they maybe if they had like 800 HP and they still had all of the shit stats, at least they would just be a big wall of meats. So now the other side of this is there's supposed to be a puzzle piece that works with the dryads and the monks. So for them, they can't really stand on their own. You need the other puzzle pieces, the other neutral units to balance these guys out. So because of that, they on their own, judging them on their own, they are what they are. They are C tier, and I'd probably put them towards the bottom of C tier. I'd rather have elves. I'd rather be forced to play with elves than forced to play with barbarians. So that's that. Going on to the second unit of the neutral units, we're going to go with the dryads. Dryads, I have to put bottom of B tier. And so dryads have some stuff going for them. Between 200 and 350 HP. And they have some decent stuff going on. So their stats lean heavier in magic protection. It doesn't really matter. These things die in 3 shots. It is what it is. They're not here. They are not DPS, but they've sort of made DPS. They have this tree blade, which is useless for the most part. So it's a melee and a ranged attack. And then they have Guardian of the Wild, which is a protection / healing spell. So it applies physical protection and magic protection of 10% while doing like a 5 to 10 healing over time thing. It's really not a great heal. And because it's a healing over time, it doesn't always save the unit from dying. Unlike a big heal, like a burst heal or something like that, like the healer does. If the hero that you're dealing with has high evasion, it might be good enough. You do have Bee Swarm. The Bee Swarm is actually pretty good as a debuff. Let's see if Bee Swarm can get on this guy. There it is, Wasp Swarm. So Wasp Swarm does magic damage decreased, physical damage decreased. It's a pretty good debuff. And speed decreased. So from a debuff place, it's solid. It's not going to kill anybody on its own. But that debuff is pretty good. It does more. I wish it told you here, because that is pretty considerable. That is meant to keep the barbarians who suck alive. Along with this. This keeps the barbarians who suck alive. They debuff with bees. They buff with the bark skin. And then they have the Tree of Life. And the Tree of Life heals 20 damage per second in an AoE. It's the same exact healing that the Ogre has. It's not... It's big. Look, the radius is huge. The tree's over here. All of these things are getting it. Like, is she getting Tree of Life over here? Yeah, look at that. The range on that's insane. When you're being attacked by 3 dragons, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Maybe a little bit of a difference. They don't stack. So if you have 3 Tree of Lives, it's still just once that it happens. So making a whole bunch of dryads... 1 dryad is as good as 3 dryads in terms of that AoE. It doesn't stack on top of each other. And so, yeah, they're okay. They're okay. Let me see if I missed anything. Nope. They have a root. It's an okay... The thing is, the creatures can still attack. It doesn't stun. It'll stop them from moving. I've seen that help with dragons. It also gives you... The dryads give you this ability where you can root down an enemy for 150 gold. See how he's rooted? It's good, but it costs you gold to use it. It's okay. It's bottom of B tier. That's where it's at. So the only neutral unit left to talk about is this sweet-ass S-tier monk, man. I would say bottom of S tier, but definitely S tier. Insanely good, man. The highest, like the best buff in the game, in terms of damage, it's yin and yang. Where the hell is it? The harmony of yin and yang is an insane buff. Let's see if I can find somebody who has it. We have to get to a fight. Alright, so we're in the middle of a fight, some scrub guys here, and this is a knight that was just blessed by the monk. Increase critical chance by 15, dodge chance by 15, and speed increased by 20. That buff is coming from this guy right here. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. He gives everybody that. He buffs everyone's crit chance. When you combine this with a few other units, you could get as high as like 60% crit chance across the board. Combine that with Elves Song. It's similar. And not that I would say ever buy Elves, but if you ever wanted to have high crit chance, that would do it. Aside from that, between 600 and 900 HP. And you get to make 2 of them. Where is it? Smaller footprint, building footprint then. I think out of all of the major heroes, it has the smallest building footprint. You get to make 2. And they have high survivability. They have to use light armor, which kind of sucks, but their dodge is crazy, especially with yin and yang popped. It's like really, really high. They do damage while inspiring people around them. They have a flurry, which takes advantage of their crit rate. They have this amazing blessing they give people, the buff they give people. They have the 150 to 200 Kamehameha wave, damage Kamehameha wave they could do every 10 seconds. And they have QI block, which essentially is never-ending stun lockdown. Whatever they fight, they stun them to the point where they can't fight back. They don't do nearly as much damage as the demon. They do less damage than possessed. They do less damage than a lot of ogres. They do less damage than ogres do. They do less damage. Maybe that's about right. So they're like 4th or 5th down from the top of the DPSs, but they lock things down. The only drawback with the monk is you are stuck with barbarians and dryads. The moment you're playing a normal game without the expansion pack and you play with the monk, you are stuck with these other 2 units. Dryads can heal, but not very well. But if a dryad is with a monk, and the monk has a 50 to 70% dodge rate, that's not bad. So you can just do dryads and monks and pretty much own, I guess, maybe. Yeah, that's the thing. They are incredibly good. I don't even need to put those on a team. I just call them Gokus, and I let them walk around and solve problems. So solid. You can make a lot of monks pretty inexpensively. They're 800, 1600, 2400 gold. You add those together, you have 6 monks walking around solving problems. So that's that. And with that being said, we are now in the good guys. So right away, we are going to go healer. Healer is better than Succubus at healing. And is just a more useful unit all around. So I'm going to put her higher, 1 step higher than Succubus, lower than Ogre as far as unit usefulness. So we have healers. There's one right here. Their AI is unique in that they focus on healing more than anything else. So even, let's talk about their health. So between 200 and 350 health, depending on what's going on with them. They have this Holy Shackles ability, which is essentially it's the same as the roots that the Dryad has. Same kind of deal. They have minor heal, and it's all at once. And it's going to be their magic attack, I think, times 1.5 or something like that. I think it's that. Yeah, 1.5. And so it's not unusual to see them have. Yeah, well, they're the same stats. I've seen them do like 110 heal before in that. They have a burn, like, very high damage exorcism ability to undead. It's kind of a wasted ability. They also have Blessing, which gives 10, 10, 10, 10, and 10 to protection, magic attack, physical, magic attack, magic damage, physical damage, and a speed buff, which is a solid buff. And they also have this Holy Healing where they heal all at once, not over time, 144. And I think there's a 10-second cooldown on this. But this minor heal, she's doing that every second. She's like, heal, 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 all damn day. They do die. They are forced in the mage role. I wish they had more HP. I find myself always having to make new ones. They die as often as Dryads. Less often than Succubus. Succubus has more sustain. But they're dying. Their teammates usually aren't dying. Their teammates are usually doing really good. I want to see if I can wait for a fight here so you can kind of see them in action when it comes to healing. Well, lucky us, we have a dragon here. We're going to go fight it, and we're going to keep our eyes on healers. So you'll see that she's not really attacking with her abilities. She's just healing. Heal. She'll find somebody else to heal. And then she did her AoE heal just then. All of that was her giving everybody 150 additional HP. She keeps people alive, man. That's what she does. Great compliment to the Angel and the Paladins. Having a few of them float around is just pretty solid. And our team wrecked these guys, but that is what it is. Moving on to Paladins. Paladins are, in my opinion, S tier. And they are extremely brokenly good. They just don't die. You make them, and they stay alive. They are spawned into the game with 450 HP the moment you get them. So then as you level them up, they can go as high as 800 HP. I have seen it on certain roles. Very high HP. They have this damn thing. Holy Shield. Grants the Paladin invulnerability. They can pop that every 15 seconds. While that's popped, they can get healed and refill their life. They can tank pretty much everything in the game. They have high physical and magical defense. They can wear good armor. They, you would think that they're a tank only, but no, they do decent damage. Hero Strike is going to be 2.5 times their physical attack. Their hammer drop is 3 times their magic attack, and they're doing that constantly. 204 and 159 magical damage. And they apply protection, which isn't great. It's 10% physical, 10% magic protection on themselves or other people. Not bad. Not great, not bad. It's probably their worst ability, and it's not a bad ability. These guys do damage. You get 2 of them for inexpensive. The building footprint is really small. If you got yourself not 8 paladins, you pretty much can sustain the whole damn map at that point. Of course, they need support, and they need rangers, they need other stuff, they need healers, but they can pretty much survive. They are quite awesome. They are a direct upgrade for knights. They don't have taunt or stun, but you kind of don't need it when they're doing so much damage that the creature's dead before there are problems. So, yeah, absolutely amazing. And then, of course, the coup de grace. Angels are the best unit in the game. This should be no surprise to anybody. They are the description is hysterical. A mighty celestial protector, blah, blah, blah. Like, basically it's like, this angel is not designed for direct combat. But their abilities make them especially indispensable on the battlefield and prolonged engagements. Bullshit. This thing does damage. Look at this, Look at this. 133 attack and magical attack. What in the hell? I mean, he's getting buffed, or she's getting buffed, but holy crap. She's a ranged unit with really high defense. Almost, we are between 800 and 1200 HP. On average, it's like 850 to 9, but I've seen it, dude. I've seen it. Look at this Ray of Hope. Almost 400 damage. What in the hell? They have their physical attack, which is a spear thrust, which does a penetrating attack in front of them that can hit a bunch of enemies at once. They have Inspiration, which heals everybody in an AoE every second, which is freaking crazy. They have Heaven's Attribution, which does a stun and a AoE circle, as well as 3 times their magic attack. So if their magic is 90, it'd be 360. Like, it's quite big. Oh, and by the way, they resurrect. They resurrect other units that die. What the hell? Angels are amazing. A lot of those stats you're seeing there are bigger because of some buffs that are over here. But even without these buffs, they are absolutely broken. They are absolutely brokenly good. And they're so good that they're so good that by this existing, it puts barbarians in the C tier. By this existing, it puts dryads in the B tier. By this existing, it puts this here. Because this exists, this is here. It literally is so good that by not choosing the good faction, it's a demerit to the other ones. It's so good that... No, I'm just kidding. So, anyway, guys, this is my tier list. I'm done talking. I've been speaking for over an hour now. If you disagree with me, type it in the comments. That's cool. This is my opinions based on this version of the game, and I just wanted to share it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.